Hey everybody, what's going on? Derek here again with the Line 6 Pod HD500. Going through the different amp models to kind of get hear what kind of different sounds this thing has. And right now I'm on the Marshall JTM-45. If you've ever been to a rock and roll concert, you've probably seen a Marshall JTM-45 or some form of a plexi amp behind the guitar player. And it's a great sounding amp. It's an iconic tone. It's a big sounding amp, and you can plug just about any guitar into it and sound huge and sound like a rock star. And the pod recreates it very faithfully. And I just want to go through some of the features that the pod has and just kind of show you some of the different sounds you can get with different guitars and different pedals. So just to let you know what kind of setup we're working with here. I'm using a Line 6 Variax guitar, the 300 model, plugged straight into the Pod HD500 via the VDI connection. And the pod is running straight into my mixing disc. The EQ is all set flat, and it's going straight into the computer and straight to your ears. No editing has been done to this video. You'll hear every mess up. You'll hear every... I'll probably end up tuning at some point in the video, and you'll probably hear that. I don't edit my videos. I want you to hear what it sounds like. And if you like the sound that you're hearing, you can download this. I'm going to include a link in the info box, and you'll be able to download this and many other patches that I've uploaded and tweak them to match your guitar and tweak them to your heart's delight and be happy with the great sound that you're going to have with this unit. So without further ado, I'm on the Strat model on the Variax, and let's hear how it sounds with the Marshall JTM-45, also known as the Brit J-45 normal amp. So but before I play, I always forget this. As far as cabinet goes, I'm running through the 2x12 PhD ported cabinet. It's the Dr. Z cabinet. It sounds great. You don't have to have a 4x12 cabinet in the digital world to sound huge. As many recording artists know, that a lot of times it's the smaller amps, like the Fender Champs and different smaller amps, are going to give you a really big sound in the studio because you can really just blast them and you don't have to worry about people calling the cops. So using a 2x12 PhD ported, I get the low end from the ports, and also the pod has a thump control, which I'll show you in a second. But I get all the low end I want, but it's also very clear. I don't have to deal with the muddiness of a 412 cabinet. And for mics, I'm using SM57 on axis with the room all the way down. And I think that's it. If you look at the amp parameters, the only thing I changed is I turned the hum all the way down. And the cabinet parameters, the only thing I changed is the thump is all the way up. So let's hear how that sounds. Again, I'm on the Strat model, and yeah, let's hear it. Alright, so let's see what this thing can do gain-wise. It's a Marshall, so I bet it can get fairly hairy. Let's so you've been hearing it on 50. Let's hear how it sounds on 70. All right, now let's crank this thing. It's every guitar player's dream to play through a cranked up Marshall. Now you can, and guess what? No one's going, and your neighbor's not going to complain. Yeah. Sounds great. Very classic rock and roll sound. So with the gain on about 60, might turn it just under 60, maybe 55. So with the gain at 55, let's hear what it sounds like with different pickup selections on the Strat and different guitar models. So here it is with the Strat. All right, very cool, very, very cool. Let's hear it with the Tilly. Now let's hear a Marshall, a Les Paul through Marshall. Yeah, I'm going to play all the stereotypical Marshall with the Les Paul sounds, songs on this. So yeah, that's what it sounds like different guitars. Let's mess with these different amp parameters. The master volume, of course, on a Marshall, you always want the master cranked, but let's just hear what it sounds like at 50. And this affects power amp distortion more so than preamp distortion. So this is very realistic. A lot of multi-effects units don't have this, but the pod does. Why? Because it's simply just a better unit. So let's hear what it sounds like at 50. now let's crank it up to about 70. All right, now let's hear it back where it's supposed to be on 100. All right, now onto the sag control. The sag is kind of like a vintage to modern switch. So when the sag is towards the right or at 100%, between 50 and 100%, you've got a very vintage style sound. A vintage amp will give a little bit, has a little bit of sag. As you go more towards the left or to towards 0%, you get a more modern tight sound. So let's mess around with different settings. So here it is, 50. Here it is at 0. Here it is on 100. I want to put it back at 50. I might go a little bit below that, maybe at about 30 or so. We're going to skip the hum control because it's useless, and let's mess with the bias control. So this is the bias at 50%. Here's the bias at 0%. And here's the bias at 100. I like it at 100, so I'm going to leave it there. Here's the bias excursion on 50%. And here's bias excursion on 0%. And here it is on 100. I kind of like it at 0. Just kidding. I like it at 100. Messing around with some cabinet parameters. The low cut really comes in handy if you've got a low tuned extended range or just a bassy guitar. The Les Paul model on the Variax on the neck position is a pretty bassy sound. So what I'm going to do is play some riffs down low with that and mess with the low cut and show you what it does. So as you hear, it's a pretty bassy sound. It's not too bad. I actually kind of like it. But if your sound man starts saying, "Hey, dude, you're getting in the bass player's territory. It's getting hard to mix it," or your bass player comes up and threatens your life because you're in his frequency territory, then it might be a good idea to utilize the low cut, especially if your bass player is stronger than you. So it's a cool feature if you're having problems with a lot of low end. So going back to the Strat model, let's hear the resonance level. You've been hearing at 50. Here it is at 0. Here it is on 100. Now this is actually really loud, so cover your ears. Just be ready. I'm going to turn that way down. We're going to take it back to 50. And the thump control. This is what's helping me get my bottom end with the bass down as low as it is. Using a 2x12 cabinet, I'm getting the clarity of a 212 but the bottom end of a 412. So it's the best of both worlds. But I understand if your low end is just a little much, this is also something to experiment with. So here it is at 50%. This is how it comes stop. And here it is at 0%. But this is a Marshall, man. I mean, it's a Marshall. And ladies, you want that low end. You want that bottom end in the sound. So I love having the thump control. It's really nice. I'm going to skip the decay. I can't really hear a huge difference with that, to be honest. And, yeah. Might just be I have a bad ear, but who knows. Let's mess around with some different distortion pedals and overdrives. First I'm going to do the boost comp. The boost comp's great if you want kind of a subtle amp boost. It sounds really great for things like that. So let's check that out. First, here it is without it. Here it is with it. First thing I want to do is turn up the bass just a little bit, turn down the treble a little bit. It might give it just a little bit more of a jive. So you can kind of tweak with that a little bit. And let's mess with the overdrive pedals now. This is the Chandler tube driver. Turn that gain up a little bit, man. We want some growl in there. That's what I'm talking about. Here's the screamer, the tube screamer. Sounds really good. Now let's listen to the classic distortion. I'm not going to go through all these. If you want to hear all of these, you can check them out for yourself. I might make a video later on about all of these, but as for right now, I'm just going to run through a few of them. So here's the classic distortion of the Proco Rat. Man, that's cool. I'm probably going to play on this for the rest of the night. It's awesome. The Marshall JTM-45 in the normal channel. Great sounding amplifier. The pod did a great job. Line 6, you did awesome on this. You probably can't hear me clapping, but Line 6, you did awesome with this. The Marshall model just sounds great with this. It's a classic rock sound. You can get just about any sound with it. It's got a wide gain range. Mess around with it. If you like this sound, and I'm sure I hope you will, you could download this on the Line 6 website. I'll post a link to it in the info box, and let me know what you think about it. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below or message me here on YouTube. And yeah, man, thanks for watching, and God bless you.